How you guys doing?
Look at
you guys are tuned in to Stay Fishy. Wait,
no.
It's Tuesday.
Special live stream.
So behind us here, we've got some special guests. We've got Ed Beauliew, the pond professor.
Oh, he said your name right.
Hey, look at that.
Wow, no one gets that right.
And we got Flavio Ramirez here. He is the brains behind the camera.
Oh,
Sometimes.
he is the
one of the many, yeah.
So,
all right.
Today we had Ed the pond professor out, and he was helping us with our wetland filter for that massive koi pond out back. So we figured we would give you guys an additional stream tonight.
Hey, it was something to do, and it gave us a chance to take a break. This guy worked us to shreds today, non-stop. You know,
sun up to sundown, right?
Right. I was making fun of him for being an old man and being able to work, and I find out he's younger than me, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm so sorry, buddy.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good.
But I tell you what, you guys kicked total butt today.
Yeah.
I mean, unbelievable the amount of work you did. We got two, not one, but two of the overflows or
Two of the skimmers.
Skimmers
so we
in.
got two skimmers in. The overflow.
Buried 50 foot of line.
Connected up the pipe. We got the wetland done. We did a seam. We moved rock. We moved gravel. We did put in aqua box, snorkel, centipedes. We got a lot done.
Somewhere's in there. We took time to eat.
And it poured rain last night. So
it was
slopped
so.
around in the mud.
Oh my God, it was horrible.
Literally until now. I mean, it didn't really dry out at all. So.
You guys have never seen this, but Big Rich wore work boots.
My God, was it hilarious.
With shorts. Okay.
It was a good look.
And then I was out there for about an hour, and I had to get called in for Tracy, so I had to go running inside, and I couldn't get these work boots off. I'm on the ground in there, I'm pulling and prying, and I'm trying to untie, and I can't bend over, and I finally get them off. I didn't put them back on. I came out thinking, well, it's dried out enough. I'll go in my flip-flops. And then I slid all the way down the hill while this guy was laughing at me.
I wish I would have gotten that on video.
You needed that on video. All right, we got any questions, Josh?
Not yet. They're just praising Ed over here and telling Roger to shut up.
I love that. Ever since we did that, I said.
Wait, what did you do? What? I'm not following.
What?
What would you read?
I don't know.
Well,
You got us all real serious and stopped.
What did you do? What
I
happened?
don't know.
We got Brooke Holly said she loves Ed's goats.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, aren't they the cutest little? Oh my God! I took Tracy up there, and no, I didn't take Tracy.
Did not.
I went up there myself with
Reaper.
Reaper. That's it. That's who I took. And they were these little itty bitty little goats born 3 days earlier, and they were so happy to be on you, and they jump up on you, and they were just, oh my God, they were so adorable. Made me want to come home and change from fish to goats. I swear to God. But if Tracy was there, I would have came home with 3 or 4 goats.
Without a doubt, you would have.
my credit card would have been, whoa.
Yeah.
You probably would have gave us some if Tracy was there. I'm just saying, that was crazy. They were so cute. I could not have. I'm just so glad Tracy wasn't there. I've got enough work to take care of here.
Actually, the goats are not that bad. And actually, we got 4 new ones right now, so they're not even a week old right now.
Oh, they're so
they're doing
cute.
great. We got 4 babies. Yeah. So
What video was that where I was at your house and we fed them?
Yep.
Do you remember what video that was?
I do not. I don't remember.
It was Ed's Pond something.
That
What it
narrows
was?
it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's only like 10 or 12 videos of your pond.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure exactly which one it was.
Well, look back on Ed Beauliew's YouTube channel and keep going. And,
Ed what?
Beauliew.
There you go.
We'll catch it.
Look back on his channel, and then you'll see me there, and I actually hand feed the goats. Reaper hand feed the goats. Cutest thing you've ever seen. I mean, it was to die for. They're just so adorable.
So Justin Mitchell asked, did they get wet working on the pond?
Not actually. Well, he did.
Yeah.
At
Let's
first,
talk about
we
we
took
did.
2
No.
of the black 2-inch PVC hoses, and we were draining the main pond to bring down the water level to be able to install the
Oh
skimmers.
my God, that flexible hose is 2 inches, and it was just pouring out of there like 6 foot. It was extremely fast, draining.
All right. Let's get some questions in here, guys.
Eric Headage, or you just said something you skipped on.
Yeah, it keeps.
I'll read top. Can't wait to see the pond running. Yup. Patty says
It's gonna be a good one.
when is the zip line happening? They want me to go down the zip line for what was that? Do you
Because
remember?
you said 100,000 subs, you'll do the zip line.
Okay.
Oh.
I will do it for you, Patty. I don't have the. Right now, there was 2 steps going up to a deck to the zip line. We took all that down when we put the new roof on because we had railings there. It was all attached to. There's no railings now, so we got to figure out a way to get up to the zip line, and then we will do it.
All right. Jake says, how do you fix the swim bladder issue? And
it's
fish.
Swim bladder depends on what problem. Is it a bacterial problem or is it an air pocket problem? You can fix the air problem real easy by going in the right place. I wouldn't suggest anybody do it without doing your due diligence and figuring out the right angle, the right area to go in, and you can actually suck that air out with a hypodermic. We've made videos of it and you show it, but that is when the fish are floating and that part of their body is sticking out of the water. You know it's air at that point. They've sucked down air or a bacterial infection has made air in their bladder and they cannot pass it. Then you can fix that. As far as bacterial itself, you're going to have to give them medications or even shots. So get to know your local vet that handles fish.
Which is surprisingly rare and uncommon.
And cheap. They're very cheap for what they do.
People are loving all over your Hobbit house.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
See, these people
It
know.
is.
Josh, you're too skinny. Lori Petrosky says
You
that.
guys give it a hug
Yeah,
for
I don't
me.
know about that.
Who's asked that?
Yeah, I was right down. I don't know.
We gave him a hug.
He just said it because he wanted a hug.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
All right, Miss Metalhead Prime says, fish question. Unfortunately, we lost one of our spotted green puffers yesterday.
Aw.
Do you think I can get another for the survivor, or will they fight? We're new to puffers. Every puffer is completely different. You might be able to get 2 that get along. You might be able to get 2 you grow up and they're completely pricks to each other.
Let me read it a little bit. Me and Josh are semi-professionals. Been doing this a long time. Got more tanks, more fish than most people. And yet we put 2 puffers in together. We thought we were going to get along just fine, and she almost killed him. It was bad. We got her out. Now they're separate. What do you call that? The protection order has been signed by the judge. Nobody's visiting nobody. They're in separate tanks. So it happens to everybody. Each puffer is different. Now I can probably try 3 or 4 more of the Mabu puffers in with Pittsburgh and maybe find one that gets along with them. It's always their attitudes and and you cannot call that.
All right, we got Brant's Pet Paradise, and I'm 14 and love ponds, reptiles, birds, and so much more. I was wondering if there's any way I can get more in tune with the fish community. I watch everyone's YouTube, but I would like to be more in tune.
Go on to Ohio Fish Rescue and start helping out other people and answering their questions, and they will answer yours, and you will just get in tune because you will learn so much from so many other people's problems. And then, follow along of all of our rescues, and sometimes we get sick fish and how we fix them and, all that kind of stuff. You'll learn just so much more.
Or hey, stop out tomorrow and help us build this pond. You'll learn
Exactly. So, yeah, you guys are going to be here for one more day.
Yes.
And we're going to work tomorrow.
Yep.
And, if anybody wants to stop by and meet the great pond professor.
And lend a hand, of course.
And lend a hand. Also, you can get to meet the actual workhorse behind Aquascapes,
Yeah.
A success. Let's go that.
You got it.
Greg, I'm sorry. We know you're the reason Aquascape is a success.
How much more time before the pond is up and running? That's actually kind of a rhetorical question.
Could actually be
It'll
tomorrow.
be up and running tomorrow, but in entirety, Nah.
Yeah.
We could have the pumps running tomorrow. The final landscaping isn't going to be done until next year.
Next year, the final landscaping, the top coat, the grass seed, all the plants and shrubs and all that is next year. What we're trying to do this year is get the pumps running, get the fish in, and make it to where they can overwinter. Because I have a bunch of, koi in a 2,000-gallon tank sitting outside and a 1,000-gallon tub sitting outside. And I do not have the heaters that would keep that and fight the elements to keep that from freezing. So we could try, but I don't want to chance it. The pond's deep enough. The pond's designed well enough. It can maintain for the winter. I've got filtration I can put on there in case, we put too many fish in at once. We'll just, keep checking the parameters. But we're going to try and get it running tomorrow. And then in the couple weeks to follow, we will have fish in it.
Alrighty. How many koi are going in total? A couple hundred?
We probably got 200 now that we got to go in. And that's without every spring, the beginning of summer, we always go on massive koi rescues where people are like, I got to open my pond. I'm so tired of this. Mostly elderly people. I just can't do it no more. We're going to fill it in. Come get the koi. That's spring and then fall. Because fall, you got to winterize it and get it ready. And they're just tired and don't want to do it no more. They call us. So every summer, what? Every summer we actually start rescuing more and more koi. That's why people start calling us the Ohio Koi Rescue.
All right, so this next question is kind of putting Ed on the spot, but he said, what does Ed think of the build? Would he do anything different?
That's a good question. So I am my own worst enemy, I guess. I'm always evaluating every project that I always see, including my own work, and you're always kind of fine-tuning and making modifications to stuff. The whole purpose of the build that Rich and Josh are doing here,
It's a little different.
It is different. It's to rescue fish. It's to have as much water as possible in the pond. So they maximize the surface area. So they went with a rectangular pond. It is 30 foot by 40 foot. They're able to utilize the liner that they had. So if I was going to do it, I like more natural.
Kidney shape.
I would come in with more twists and turns and pockets and things like that. But I also would add, like what I talked to you about, I would love to see a negative edge over there.
Ooh, that's nice.
That would be pretty sweet. So you look out from
Explain
the deck.
it to him. Explain it to him.
So what we have, when you look off of the deck and you see the wetland filters up high, down below you're going to see the pond that stretches out, and then that creek is way down below over here. Negative edge is where that water line just kind of dissolves off into the background. So I could totally see a waterfall dropping down into that lower pond area, where it could be aquablocks, could be another type of filtration system or something like that. It would totally transform everything. It would utilize that property more, but it's more time, it's more money, it's more stone, it's more excavation.
And
it's
that's why they
everything.
call him the pond professor. Because that is an awesome idea.
It would be
Do we see a
unbelievable.
future project, maybe?
And well, that's the beauty of it. You could easily add on to that. So, I mean, it's super, super easy.
In other words, you don't see no wall on that side. You just see the water overflowing like a waterfall.
It would be awesome.
You don't see nothing. But man, do you have to have that perfectly level?
You do.
For that to
Oh,
happen.
it's got to be done on. It's got to be perfect.
That's why
Yes.
the pond is never done.
No.
It's always evolving. So
Well,
That's
not with the option of a live edge now.
No.
And our
options
yard
are
goes downhill, so we can put
Perfect.
a huge tub over there and let it flow into it and have more over. Oh, he's ruined me because now I've got all these ideas.
All right, so we have Dave Pfeiffer. He said, Ed, why do you prefer liner ponds over concrete?
So, a couple good reasons. One is, so when you start doing concrete in northern climates, up here, Ohio, Chicago, Illinois, Michigan, whole northern half the United States, we have incredible freeze-thaw cycles. Mm-hmm. So concrete does not like to expand and contract. It does not like that. It does not like that shifting soil. So it's going to crack over time. So the rubber liner could actually expand by up to 300%. So it will move with everything. The other thing is, I'm a big kind of a sustainability guy. So when you are making a concrete pond, you're going to need a minimum of 6 inches thick. Mm-hmm. So 6 inches. So
For all the curvatures and the pressure.
yeah, for the pressure, everything, minimum 6 inches. So a square foot of concrete, 6 inches thick, is going to be 75 pounds. It's 150 pounds a cubic foot approximately. So cut that in half, not including steel. You throw rebar in there. We'll say it's 85 pounds, versus a third of a pound for a rubber liner. So
Right.
the other thing is, so when you talk about sustainability, you talk about the wise usage of materials. Concrete is the #1 producer of greenhouse gas. It actually surpasses burning fossil fuels for driving. It's actually the biggest thing it's for
I've
concrete
never heard
production.
that.
It's for concrete production. It's just twofold. One is the curing process to create concrete. The other is concrete is made from limestone, and you have to heat it up to a certain point to break it down back into that lime.
Yeah.
And during that process, limestone is basically calcium carbonate. So as a fish guy, you're off gassing CO2 back up into the atmosphere.
Yep.
So it's kind of a twofold thing. So it's a very effective
Never
utilization
thought of
of
this.
materials. Very, very effective utilization of materials.
Now, let me ask you a question. Forget their questions for a minute. Let me interject here. Ed, have you ever had a big pond liner?
Yeah.
Okay. This is a dumb question.
50,000 square feet. Yeah.
But here's the thing. We had, this line is only 50 foot.
Yep.
And we had like 20 people here. I'm like, okay, everybody reach down, grab the liner, and we're going to walk it into the pond. We had, 20 people, 19 people pick it up and point that way. One guy pick it up and point this way. Have you ever had that?
Yes.
I was like, Roger, you got to go the other way. That's eyeliner. And we got it on video. It's the funniest thing. I just wondered if that ever happened with you. I've done one pond with one big liner, and it happened to me.
Yes, no, it definitely always it happens.
And the funny thing was, he looked so helpless because everybody started walking backwards, and he's like, big eyes and confused.
That's awesome.
Someone's asking, what does that think of fish in an unestablished pond for the winter?
It's not unestablished. For one, we're going to put in the bacteria, and if you're thinking it won't catch in time, Ed's got a lot to say about this. But also, I have a Ultima 2 10,000 gallon filter that's been running for 6 months, and a homemade 55 gallon drum full of bacteria been running for 6 months with a 4,000 gallon pump per hour on it. I figured I could use these filters off in the corner, run my pumps that are running the fish now, put them directly in, and even without any other filter, they would last for the winter. But Ed's wetlands filtration, he's going to educate you on now.
Yeah, so putting fish into the pond right now that has not been established, I don't think is any big issue at all. #1, water temperatures are dropping. So fish are going to start to go into a hibernation mode. So as soon as you start dropping down that water temperature, the amount of ammonia excreted by the fish, their metabolism is going to drop down dramatically. Dissolved oxygen starts going up because the water's cooling off. So everything starts to shift inside of the pond. The other thing that's actually happening, we washed a bunch of dirt and stuff out of the pond today. We're also bringing in some of the water out of the stream at the base of your property just during a washing bacteria, which is going to be loaded with it. So it's starting to seed all that stuff. The sheer volume of water, 35,000 gallons of water, and you're going to maybe have 100 fish in there over the winter. That's nothing. Literally nothing. So what? Yeah, I don't really see an issue. You always need to be conscious of it, but you're like me, where you're going to probably check off those boxes real quick and be like, yeah, no, we're good.
Right.
But if it was a brand new pond that was a quarter or a tenth of that size, beginning is a total different animal.
Right.
So I think we're good. The biological filter that we installed with the wetland filter is going to jump up quickly.
How long? That's what I was going to ask. How long does that normally take to be able to take over the bioload?
It's going to be in ponds. I never recommend starting out with full stocking rates.
Of course.
So I don't even see a blip, when we're testing our water or anything like that, just because we're just really conscious and smart of all that stuff. So it's a really good question. I don't even have an answer for it because I've never had an issue with it. So I'm always really conscious about how I kind of set it all up. And
well, from me thinking ahead, we've got filters ready to go that will maintain the fish that are maintaining the fish now.
Yep.
and you know, in a month or two we can take them off, and the wetlands will be fully seeded and, and bacterialized and be good to go.
Are you city water here or well water?
City water.
Okay, all right.
So we're using we're creek water.
Creek water right now, right? Yeah. I mean, is that what you're going to actually use to fill it when you, or you're going to use? You're also getting a lot of water off of that roof.
Yes.
I mean,
And
you
that's
get
a
a couple
pond-
good rains.
A couple good rains and you're full.
You're gonna get a
And
lot of
that's a
rainwater.
pond liner we use on the roof. We did not use an EDPM
Roofing one.
roofing one that's saturated in the talc and all that.
Yeah.
We did use the pond liner that Greg Woodstock donated to us.
Okay, gotcha.
We bought a bigger liner to make a bigger thing because I was going to have to buy the roofing materials anyway.
Right.
It was $1,200. Well, for I think it was $1,460. I got the bigger pond liner and I used Greg's pond liner as my roofing. In the thinking of, I'll just run the gutter over to the pond.
Yep.
We run a overflow on the pond. We're good. We always got fresh water, and we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
You know, there's no trees above that roof. Nothing.
No.
The only
That's
thing you
fine.
got to worry about is dirt in the air or the water. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
Yeah, no, I don't see any issue. I think the fish will actually be way better there than in an above ground tank or something like you have set up right now,
Right.
because that's gonna get really, really cold for them.
Real cold.
Yeah, so
Even
that's
if we
definitely
put
gonna
heaters
start-
in there, we're
it'll-
fighting the elements
it'll
above
be
above
brutal.
ground level.
Brutal.
Yes.
Yeah,
So they're going
I
to be
agree.
better off in the pond.
Yeah.
And I mean, we put a lot of thought into this. You know, Greg didn't have faith in us. We put a lot of thought
He
into
had
this.
a lot of faith in you.
Oh.
He just questions everything. That's his job.
Is that-
He
is that
he
it? Okay.
Yes. No. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here right now. We wouldn't be. You know,
This is true. This
you
is
know, it's a great partnership, and we enjoy it. And like I said, we wouldn't be here. So he
true.
has
Gotcha.
faith.
Okay. So he has faith. All right.
So we have Patty chimed in for $5. She said, "What does Ed think of shade balls to be used in the back pond for insulation?"
So for insulation, so again, I'm a big let nature do what nature does, and nature's insulator is ice. So putting in and paying for shade balls or something like that to help insulate something, I don't think it's necessary. Koi are a cold water fish. They've adapted to cold water situations. Let it freeze over, keep circulation happening, let it off gas. You know, the biggest thing is gas exchange. So as long as we allow that to happen, why mess with nature? It's an uphill battle. So I prefer doing that whenever possible.
Nature's had millions of years to figure this out.
You got it. Same thing to sink. I just hit my ankle. But an excellent question, because we see all this new technology out there. You know, if you wanted to insulate something, a really nice way to do it actually might be actually doing a small greenhouse over a corner of it. So then you're using, you know, just that greenhouse action. You could have a little 10 by 10 plastic greenhouse over it, and that's going to help keep a hole open in the ice and allow gas exchange and everything.
Well, that also brings us to, you know, we're gonna keep the filters running all winter, so
And
that's gonna
help a ton.
Yeah.
Because that filter is 5 feet deep. So we're picking up the geothermal heating and cooling action of that. So we're discharging the water down 5 feet below grade, which is well below frost line here. So now we're going to pick up all that warming action of the soil down at that deep level, and the water's going to slowly rise up through that. So it's very, very effective. Yeah.
Now, guys, we made them peanut butter fudge tonight, so
Which is really good. I've had a bunch of it already, but
I know.
I will keep using it. Well, I don't get all the primer all over it keep rubbing it off on me from that seam.
So
Goofy.
someone's asking about pond start and how much we used, and if not,
that's
how much will we
Justin
use.
Mitchell.
We have not added none yet because
Yeah.
we keep filling and draining the pond.
Right.
Once
Mostly for rinsing the washing of the rocks because the rocks we put in were muddy. I thought they were tan rocks, and then once I pressure washed them and got all the mud off, they're beautiful, much better than I thought I bought. But there's so much silt and mud in there that we keep filling, draining. Even today, we had it filled finally by the time Ed got here, and we were able to mark off where we wanted our level. We drained it down today so that we can get in it, walk around, and do all that.
2 feet, right? You know when we brought it down?
30 inches or so?
Yeah, we took a lot of water
Yeah.
out there.
someone's asking if I will swim in the pond. You best believe it. Before it gets too cold, I'm jumping in there.
You're going to handle it? Because Greg would do it. Greg's a cold water fanatic. He would
and
jump right
love
in.
it. Oh, he totally loves that stuff.
He has
He loves
an
cold
ice
water.
bath next to his hot tub.
He does.
And he goes from one to the other, and then here's the kicker, he goes back.
I know. You're right. Exactly.
Oh my God, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I've done it once.
Did you?
That was it.
Never do it
It's
again.
not my thing.
Right.
What's your favorite pond build ever?
Oh boy, that's a tough question.
Because there's so many
There's
big
so
ones.
many. So I've been doing it for 27 years, all over the world. But my favorite, probably, I
South
guess
America
it's jumping
with
out to me right now, is South America, and it's just
With the
because,
airplane.
yeah, it's the
That's
diversity
my
of the
favorite
fish.
of your guys'.
It's the diversity of fish. You know, I've done tons of koi ponds. I've actually done some cool trout ponds. I've done some game fish ponds. But to go down to South America and build a pond for arapaima, red-tailed cats, shoveling those cats, big pacu, jamu, all these native Amazonian fish is just insane.
Just in case you didn't think I was a fan. Look, I named your favorite pond.
You did. That's a good call.
Oh, Eyeliner's on here. He says, thanks for bringing that up, Rich.
Do you remove hair algae if it grows in the stream, or is this beneficial?
Okay, I don't know who you're asking that, but let me say my point
Really,
first,
really
and then
good
I'll go over to Ed. We leave our hair algae on the waterfalls because it eats up all the nutrients, and then there's no algae anywhere else in the pond. So that's why we do it, and it looks kind of, maybe not the greatest, but I'm telling you, it works for us. And it may not work for anybody else, but it works for us. Ed, what do you think?
I agree 100%. So algal turf scrubbers are incredibly effective. So using algae strains to scrub out ammonia, phosphates, and things like that out of the water do a phenomenal job. They grow extremely rapidly and quickly. You should go in and harvest it periodically because the fish can't get in there for grazing or anything like that, but I don't want to eradicate it. So when people go in and they want to treat it and kill it off, I'm like, just leave it alone because nature, nature's got its reason. It's,
Right.
That algae's growing because something's in the water.
Right.
So
if there wasn't the nutrients weren't there, that algae wouldn't
grow. So let it suck it up, harvest it out, use it for mulch, throw it in the garden, something like that. It does an incredible
Even that,
job.
I don't even harvest mine until the end of the season because we don't have availability for our fish to go up there because we've got the stream, we got the waterfall, and then we've got this little, and the fish cannot get up there.
Yeah.
So that whole tops area where the waterfalls is,
Yeah.
I let it fill with string algae, and I'm telling you, the rest of our pond looks pristine, like we just pressure washed it all year.
So one of the things, so by harvesting it, it spawns newer, faster growth. So it'll come back really fast, so it actually sucks up a little bit more.
Oh, okay. Did not know that.
So yeah, it grows really, really fast.
Well,
So if you don't want to get rid of it, but if you just remove some of it,
This is our second year with this pond, and both years we've let that grow and never had algae anywhere.
don't mess with it. If it's working,
Okay.
well, if it's working, so that is the thing. I mean, you get to learn and you get to understand your pond, and if it keeps working for you, then don't mess with it. Yeah, I agree.
Good advice.
We got Trebs chimed in for $5. He said, how deep would a pond need to be in northern Minnesota to remain operational year-round?
So I have ponds. So northern Minnesota is like a zone 4 on the USDA scale. So I have ponds in Edmonton, Canada, which is a zone 3. So way 700
Even
miles
colder.
further north.
Right.
And I have 2-foot deep ponds that have koi inside of them. 2 foot deep.
But now, in that situation, it can't be shut off.
Cannot be shut off.
It has to run.
Yes.
And then your waterfalls, like on my pond out front that you guys built, everyone told me it was too shallow. We had a bunch of koi in there, and the waterfall's going, and it freezes over, and then there's a line all the way through the whole pond over to the overflow or the skimmer. And it never freezes there because the waterfall is coming through, and the warmer water from on the bottom of the skimmer is pumping up there, and it comes through, and it never freezes over.
Yep.
So I don't even need the air pump with the air stones. I don't need a heater because it never freezes over. And it got down to like, I think it was 5 degrees last winter, and it did not freeze over. Our fish stayed in there all winter.
Yep.
On 2 foot deep.
Yep.
That's just amazing. But people don't realize this. Everyone's like, oh no, I heard it's a 4 foot past the frost line, all this crazy stuff. That's for stagnant ponds.
Correct.
That you're just running an air stone in, you know. So there's a difference. If you keep your waterfall running, you can go shallower.
There is, yeah, no, there's definitely a big difference. I know I've done testing on my own personal pond, and this was, gosh, probably 5, 6, 7 years ago. We had record-breaking cold in Chicago, so we're zone 5 in Chicago, so not as cold as Minnesota. If we had back-to-back, we had a stretch of weather that was well below zero, 10 degrees, 20 degrees below zero. I went out with an auger, I drilled a hole through the ice, and the thickest part of my pond was 9 inches.
Really?
And that was late January.
Wasn't it just like 2 years ago? It was negative 55 there?
Yeah.
Because I went up to Aquascape.
Oh, you did?
Yes. And I was there with Paul Cafaro.
Yes, and he went, yes.
He went
I
running
remember
outside
that.
in his bare feet,
Yes.
grabbing icicles, and
Yeah.
came in and said, "Oh, big mistake."
Yes. Yeah, that's when you throw a cup of hot coffee into the air and it
And we did that too. It just made
explodes.
clouds.
Or hot
Yeah.
water, not even
It
clouds.
just made
Yeah.
clouds.
It's
It was crazy.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Well, oh, go ahead. I won't embellish on it. I want. No, go ahead.
So we have Eddie Bob 77 for $10. He said, "Y'all made my Afghanistan deployment more peaceful."
Aw.
My friend Adam
Thank you for your service,
Turgeon,
brother.
who recorded most drums on Days of the News' first album, just died October 8th, my 43rd birthday.
Sorry to
Thanks
hear
for the
that,
joy,
man.
Praying for Tracy.
Well, thank
Yeah,
you for
sorry to
that.
hear
Sorry for your loss, brother. That's horrible.
Yep.
But if we can make your deployment a little bit nicer, that's awesome. Thank you, for watching and hanging in there. It's just thank you for your service.
We got SC Aquatics for $5. He said,
Steven!
at Ohio Fish Rescue, did Josh's butt and Rich's tidy whities make the drone video?
I don't know. Did Steven put it out yet?
Yeah, he put it out earlier today.
Did he? I did not see it. We've been working today, Steven. I'm sorry. But in this video, he comes up with his
He's
drone
stalking
behind
us
us.
with this drone.
Yeah.
Oh my
so
gosh.
So I mooned him.
Me and Josh bent over and mooned him. He mooned him full butt. I just did the tiny whiteys.
That's great.
I'd love to see if it made it, Steven. Who was the guy I was talking to about the drone? That's the drone I was talking about.
Okay.
Let me introduce you guys to something here. This is Flavio Ramirez. Now he's on a mission here. Greg sent him to teach us, just a little bit, to teach us how to get our videos edited elsewheres better and all that, so that we can concentrate more on making content and somebody else can be editing our videos. He's here to teach us to do that because Greg Woodstock says, "Boy, let me tell you what. Do this and you will become, much better." So we're going to give it a try. We're going to do it after the live stream tonight. Me and Flavio are going to work our butts off. We're going to figure it out. We're going to get it done. He's been doing Aquascapes videos forever, and they're doing great, and they're great videos. So, thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Corey Chadwick said, "Do you have to worry about anaerobic spots?"
That's a really good question.
Well,
I hear that a lot. Well, I shouldn't say a lot, because it's usually people who are more conscious and informed about fish. Because you hear anaerobic and you're like, that's bad stuff. But again, I always model everything after nature. So in nature, you're going to get anaerobic bacteria, growing underneath rocks and in deep pockets and things
or
like
less
that.
oxygen.
We're less water movements happening to pull away that anoxic zone. But it's normal. It's also it completes the nitrogen cycle. So the only way to get rid of nitrate is either with green plants.
Yeah.
So with algae and things like that, algae, green plants. But another way to do it is through anaerobic zones, where you could actually take nitrate and put it right back at nitrogen gas into the atmosphere, which is actually that's what swamps and that's what happens in the Everglades and things like that.
Isn't
You're
that how the
pumping all that stuff.
denitrators work?
It's exactly what
you
it
add
is.
sugar.
Yeah. But I think it's very effective. Now
That's a lost art.
It's definitely a smaller percentage. I'm not as conscious about it. In the early days, I was. I remember being a freak about it. So my background is.
I cannot see him as a freak.
My background's in zoology. I studied, freshwater ecology and all that stuff. So I'm like, oh my gosh, we have to have high oxygen. It's got to move through. But it's like, Do you really? You know, again, model things after nature. As long as it's in the right balance, everything's going to be
No
good.
light, hardly no oxygen, and it does a good job.
And it does a great job. I think it's an important component. I really do.
So anaerobic and what's the other one?
Aerobic.
Aerobic.
Aerobic. Anaerobic.
Both together work great.
That's
so
the combo.
Nature.
That's it.
Alrighty, so let's move on.
Well, hold on. Here we go, guys.
Oh my gosh. Why not? Stick to.
People are asking Matt when they're gonna see another video.
Yeah, he came back onto the scene hard. We helped him out. You know, Jeff Beatty helped him out big time, and we haven't seen hardly no videos from you, Matt. I'm sorry, buddy. I don't never mean to talk bad about you. I'm not trying to, but we haven't seen videos from you. What's going on? K-Stu says, back in the day in Minnesota, we used to sit in the sauna and then run out in the below zero temps and make snow angels in our underwear.
Oh.
K-Stu, I've never accused you of being smart, buddy.
We got
Flavio.
comment for Flavio. Said your videos keep getting better and better.
Oh, look at you go.
Got it.
Trying.
The great Flavio is going to teach us tonight, okay? We're going to try and make things better for you
And a
guys.
collab.
Another one for Flavio. How much does it cost to have other people edit your videos?
According to Greg Woodstock,
No,
not much
that's a
at
loaded
all.
question. That's a hard one. I don't even know if you can answer.
No, it's easy.
And-
Greg says it's really cheap.
Flavio is a genius with editing.
Yes.
We've heard this
John,
before.
That's the winner of the DIY contest.
Was
Yes,
it?
Oh,
that's-
yeah.
Was it?
Recently, yep. He
Who
just
was
had a
that?
video.
Sean Baker.
Yes. Sean's the man.
You gotta say their
Yes,
name
Sean's
on there
awesome.
when they
Sean's
speak.
awesome.
How do Miss Leslie said, how do fish survive the winter in a pond? What do they eat?
Another good question. Yeah, you know
Good
what?
question, but very simple answer.
So the fish go into hibernation. So because they're a cold water species, they've adapted to that cold water. They slow their entire metabolism down,
Yep.
and they will look like they're dead. If there's clear ice over a pond, they're gonna lay there, and you're gonna look at them through the ice and like, oh my god, I killed all my fish. They don't even move. 2 days later, they might be in a different spot, but they're really, really slow. Now, the really small fish, they're going to stay active because they don't have that layer of fat. They have not built up enough of that yet, so they're going to stay more active. They will keep feeding, and it's usually on algae. So because their digestive systems are going so slow, they can't metabolize proteins very easily. So they're going to focus on carbohydrates. So they're going to use the algae and things like that, and they can
And they're
easily
built up
digest
fat
that.
cells.
I'm talking about the baby fish, the small
the
ones
baby,
that
yeah.
don't have a lot.
Right,
so
right,
they're
right.
just going to use it as energy. So they're just going to totally use it as energy. But you'll see them constantly moving around and feeding. Other than that, they lay low. They really
Not
do.
only that,
Amazing.
but when they go into hibernation mode for the winter, if you feed them, you can actually do damage to your fish because the food sits in their system. There's such a slowed down hibernation, and their metabolism slows down that this food in their belly can cause unwanted gases and cause sickness and digestive problems, and they can die. So early or late fall, when the temperatures get low, you want to stop feeding your fish altogether. And you think it's mean, you think, no, it's better for their health. Springtime comes, you start feeding them.
Alrighty, so we got a question for both of you guys. For Ed, it's what's the biggest pond you've ever built? And that came from Brooke Holly.
Biggest pond.
South America.
Yeah, no, actually,
No?
I have bigger ones than that. So I'm going to say probably 60,000 square feet, which is
It wasn't the 600
acre and a half. No, that's not that big.
Not Aquascapes?
No.
Really? You
I
built
have, I
bigger?
have stuff that's 3 times the size of that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
have
Greg's
not
is
seen
bigger,
that.
Greg's is bigger than that. Yeah, I have some big ponds that are acre and a half. 15 feet deep. I don't even know, multi-million gallons. So an acre foot is 1 acre of water. 1 foot deep is 326,000 gallons. So I have ponds that are an acre and a half, average depth is going to be 6 feet. So
You know, I do have a 1.3 acres here.
Can't do the math that quick right now. It's been a long day.
Love you, Ed.
And then, hang on, let me find it. We got one from Adele Parkinson. She said, Flavio, what has been the most challenging thing filming for Greg?
Oh, this is easy. Nothing. He films his own stuff.
He films his own stuff.
You filmed a
He
bunch
just-
of them, though.
Yeah, you do.
You
You
have.
do. I've seen you.
I
film.
definitely. I used to help film the stuff. I miss traveling.
Wait,
with
I
him,
was
but-
at the thing where Greg Woodstock did the underwater.
Oh, yeah.
the
what do you call
world
it?
Record.
Yes, the world
Yeah,
record.
yeah.
Doing the how many bench presses
Yep.
underwater on one breath. And you know, I come up and I'm like, "Hey, Flavio, what's up?" And you're like, walking right past me with the camera. You were on, Greg.
You gotta be focused, man. You can't take the time out to say hi or anything. So my job is to film and get everything that I need to get. So yeah.
So we got Von Yinzer. He said, what is the best way
He's a great friend of the rescue.
to foil raccoons or other predators from getting into smaller preformed ponds? I figured out how to keep the cranes out with netting, but this year I did it different.
I would say paintball guns.
Yeah.
Non-lethal, painful.
Yeah.
They
Fun.
remember this.
Yeah, that's really, really hard. I'm gonna actually, I'll even one up you on that, and I'm gonna say have a dog outside all the time.
The
And
dog is the perfect
You
thing.
will not have any
Right.
issue.
Second thing is people, talk about setting out traps, but there's so many raccoons. You might catch 20,
Yeah.
30, and then they're gonna all the other raccoons are having 6 to 10 babies apiece, and then they're gonna replace them with more. You're just never gonna trap enough, so it doesn't work.
Got another good question from Max and a bunch of numbers. Said, Ed, what was your first impression of OFR's first large pond since taking the class from you guys?
I was blown away by the sheer scale of it. So
In the backyard?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, because it's your first one, and all of a sudden it's like you get there and you're like, holy cow, this is a huge footprint.
Very
I'm
ambitious.
like, oh my
He was there
gosh.
with some
And
I will go with ambitious. Yes.
I mean, I follow the videos, but again, when you see it in person, you're like, wow, this is a serious construction project for the
It's
first
5
one.
foot deep, and
5 foot
40
deep.
by 30.
It's a massive, massive pond. So sheer scale of it, yeah, crazy.
We can fit every koi in there that we can fit by inch, right?
Yeah, yes, easily.
So we got Reaper on the stream tonight. He chimed
Oh,
in
hey,
for
what's up, my buddy Reaper?
$5. He said, hey, Ed, nice to see you. Loved feeding the goats in your whole place.
Remember Reaper at your house?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Love your channel.
Nice.
Go Tracy.
Yes, awesome.
Reaper, that was such
Yeah,
a fun
awesome,
time
buddy.
feeding them goats. That was so cute, brother. That was just amazing. I was so, because they were so cute, I was like in love with Ellen. I was in love with Reaper. I was in love with the goats. I was in love with Ed. Everything was just so cute, just adorable.
Well, Reaper, Ellen, my wife, still talks about the time when you and Rich came out, so you definitely have to come back out again. She loved it. She had a blast chatting with you.
Oh, he loves going on any long distance trip I
That's
go.
cool. That's
So if we
great.
go back to Chicago, well, not if, but when we go back to Chicago, I will bring Reaper with
Nice,
me.
nice.
He's my traveling buddy.
Nice.
All right, so we have North Aquatics with a question for Flavio.
Ooh, what do we got?
What are some tips for a new fish YouTuber during filming and editing you would give and recommend? Don't do it!
No, do it. If it's something you
Don't
wanna
start.
do, do it.
Don't try.
No, it's none of that. You don't want to hesitate. I mean, if it's something you want to do, just start by doing it, right? And the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. As far as editing goes, learn basics, and story comes, like, that's the important thing. As long as you have a story, I mean, like, you'll figure out how to do the editing, and you'll figure out, like, all the things in between. But as long as you know what you want to talk about and what your video is going to be about, you'll find the way to get it done. It's just learn little by little, but you got to take that first step, right? You got to just start by doing it. And if, don't let anything hold you back. Like, just do it little by little. You're going to grow, you're going to learn, and, look back a year, 2 years from now and realize how much you've grown in that time. Like, that's what we've done. I mean, when we started, even Greg was like the pond guy, we've learned so much since then. It's little by little. Don't let anybody hold you back. Just keep doing it.
The more you do, the more you learn.
Great
The
advice.
more you
Practice,
learn,
man.
the
It's
better you
practice.
are.
You're just going to get better
And
and
then
better
you
and
just
better.
keep learning.
Exactly.
Agreed.
I got this one motto that I have in my office that says basically, like, it doesn't get, you don't get faster, or it doesn't get easier, you get faster because you're learning how to do things, right? So just stay with it and keep doing it.
I thought it was always listen to Big Rich.
That's a little bit too right up there.
So we got Reaper chimed in for another $2, and he said, "Go Team Tracy."
Aw.
Nice.
We got Kathy Murphy for $7. She said, "Hi all, too much fun for us."
Oh, that's good.
Nice.
We're having fun here too.
Always
This
having
is all a
fun.
lot better than building the pond, right? And
Absolutely.
working out there.
Absolutely. No, I don't know. I like building though.
Yeah.
It's great dialogue. It's just it's
Yeah,
fun.
but there's still, you got to get this, you got to do that. To do this, you have to move this, you have to do that. Then you have to get this. Okay, let's get that in here because this is going next. Oh, jeez.
But
You know?
like Flavio just said, we're getting faster at it.
Yes, yes.
We've been there.
Exactly.
So we have Critter Mom for $5. She said, "I'd love Ed to build me a pond. I had to settle for the Aquascape patio pond, but
Those
I
are
love it."
awesome too.
They are
You don't
fantastic.
settle. I have 3 of those.
Absolutely.
You have 3 of
Incredible.
those?
3 patio ponds, absolutely.
Really?
I have a pond,
They're
yeah.
awesome.
Put
They're
goldfish in there, feeder
awesome.
fish.
Super cool.
Love it.
Well, I'd love an opportunity to work for you as well. Let me know.
Would Ed ever think of a refugium style pond?
Yeah, totally.
What is that?
Yeah, absolutely. Totally cool stuff.
Back to nature.
Which we kind of do. I mean, that's really what our wetland filtration system is. It's a refugium. So by having all that
For
different
freshwater.
mixture for freshwater,
Yeah.
you know, but by having all the different elements there, so we have the rock and gravel substrate. We'll put in boulders. We'll put in pieces of wood. We'll do aquatic vegetation. So we get all types of periphyton and all types of unique little critters and stuff growing and feeding on all that stuff. I mean, it's really, really cool. So yeah, I mean, we do that. We actually do that. And if you do that negative edge, it's going to be a huge refugium for you.
Ed, I'm going to do that negative edge. I'm going to. You got me talked into it.
I'm sure you are. I don't even need to push you on it.
So when are you coming back to help us?
Right.
All right. So
Wait. Let me put it this way. We'll build the negative edge. We'll get it all running. We'll get it all ready. You can come in and fix the Band-Aid problem. You can come in and fix all of our mistakes and boo-boos.
All right, we got Digger Jones said, "Ed, what pond is next to test your skill and fill the next natural niche in nature?"
Oh, that's a really good one. So my next so I'm going down actually next week, right? Next week. Gonna be at Greg's
You are
Turtle
like
Haven.
The most just busy guy I've ever met.
Hey, when it's time to make hay, man, you got to do it, right? You got to do it. So I'm heading down to Greg's Turtle Haven down next week in Georgia. Really, really cool guy. If you're not familiar with him, definitely check out Greg's Turtle Haven. But he does some phenomenal work. He does some phenomenal work. But we're going to do an expedition out there. We're going to go into some of the local rivers, and we're going to look for alligator snapping turtles.
Oh,
It'll be like 2 a.m. out there with lights, kind of walking through these beautiful spring-fed creeks and streams.
Crossing my fingers, you find an albino.
So cool, so cool. But we're going to try to recreate that habitat in his backyard. So because he's grown up doing that stuff, I want to recreate that stuff. So I love recreating those natural habitats. I got an awesome project actually the week after that, starting out in Omaha, Nebraska. That's going to be a big recreational style pond, just to connect kids with nature. So the homeowners, instead of doing a traditional swimming pool, they wanted to connect kids with nature. Huge wetland filter, huge. Doing a massive waterfall. So you said you had, what, 30 plus tons of stone on your pond here? So 30 tons of rock, not including gravel. So the project that I'm doing in Nebraska is going to have over 200 tons of boulders.
Oh my God! Wait,
massive.
30 tons with 6,000.
I got rocks. I have 6 foot
90,
rocks that are just giant blocks.
170, 200. 7 times 6. That's $45,000 at the very minimal for rock.
Yeah. Actually, it's a little bit north of that because it's a
Well,
really
yeah, because
nice rock.
we
It's a very high quality
and we
stone.
bought the cheapest rock around, and it turned out to be pretty nice.
Yeah.
But we bought cheap rock.
Yeah.
And now with them buying better rock,
Yeah.
and 7 times what? Oh
And
my
some
God.
of the rocks, are going to be. I have 24,000 pound boulders coming. So one rock,
We had problem moving that 3,000
You're
pound
gonna
boat.
need a big
It's gonna,
excavator.
it's
You're
gonna
gonna
be
need a
awesome.
bigger
I got a big one.
excavator.
Oh, it's covered. I got it. No, but it's so cool. So I'm a rock hound. I love biology. I love all the sciences. You know, I love chemistry. I love physics. I love geology, geography. And what I love about designing and building water features is you combine them all together. So it's like I could go pick out rock. I could do cool aquatic plants. I could put unique fish inside of it. I'm building in different parts of the country or the different parts of the world. So it's super, it's just awesome. I mean, the creativity is just incredible.
You have the world's greatest job.
I may have the world's greatest job.
Well, we love you, Ed.
We love you too, Rich.
All right, got Musique said, Ed, what are some other pond fish that can survive winter that are not koi or goldfish?
You know, one of my favorite ones is, are you going to say Norf? I love gold
Gold
Norfs.
Norfs.
They're so cool.
That,
so cool.
I got one other too.
Yeah.
I'll keep quiet.
So awesome. And then the little rosy reds are great too. But I'm a big fan of native fish. So in the northern climates, you know, some of the orange spotted sunfishes, you know, the harlequin darter. I mean, that looks like a mandarin goby. So if you're a reef guy, I mean,
That's so beautiful. That's
they're
beautiful.
incredible. I mean, these are incredibly beautiful fish that are, you know, so the Johnny Darters and stuff like that, really, really cool stuff. You need to have a license to get them.
More for sturgeon.
Okay, sturgeon would, yes.
Sturlets.
The sturgeon are incredible. Paddlefish.
I
You
love
can do-
paddlefish,
but you
they're
need-
so hard to keep up, and I would
Yes,
not
very,
push
very
that
good.
on anybody
No.
or recommend it
You
to
need a big, big
anybody
pond.
because they are filter feeders. So basically, they feed on plankton and that kind of stuff, and to change them into pellet feeders, they have to now go against their nature, turn upside down, scoop up the pellets and go back, and then you have to feed them constantly because everyone knows, and if you don't know this, filter feeders need to feed all the time. So please don't go get a paddlefish.
Yeah.
They will 9 times out of 10 die.
Yeah, you need.
I love paddlefish.
You need a big, giant natural pond, high plankton load.
Right.
The only way it's gonna
Love
super
paddlefish, so they are
Super
super cool.
Yeah.
And
Just
we had a
throw some
chance to
musky
have a
out there.
3-foot albino, and I so wanted it, you know.
Yeah, that's an uphill battle though.
Yes,
Try to keep one of those
yes,
alive.
yes.
It's to be a lot of work.
But the sturgeon are koi related. Also, high fin
Yeah.
banded sharks.
Yeah.
Awesome fish to have in
very
with
cool.
koi.
Yeah.
Cold related, sturgeon are cold related,
Yeah.
and you know everything's fine. So
Yeah.
I was going to have a couple sturgeon. I've got 3 big gold norths out front,
Oh, nice.
so
Yeah.
they're going to
Yeah,
go
they're-
in the back
they're
one.
cool. They're really
Yeah.
cool fish.
And they're what,
Yeah.
22 inches,
Yeah, just
24.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a big one. Those are big.
Yeah,
That's a big one.
and I've heard there are blue ones of those.
Really?
Yeah,
haven't
blue
seen that.
gold norths.
Wow.
I have never seen one.
I have not seen one of those either.
But people are like, oh, if you love them, and they're over in the UK. They're like, oh, then we get them in
Yeah.
blue and gold. You know,
Wow.
really send me some.
Want a walleye? Walleye's a cool fish. Walleye's
Yeah, but
incredible
not
fish.
in with our koi.
But no, it's a
They will
that's a
be
predator.
baby koi destroyers.
Yeah. Oh yeah, without a doubt. But they are nice. I mean, I do see a lot of people that have, you know, a specific amount of koi that they want to hold. They got a bunch of mature fish and they want to hold them. So you add in, you know, a predator like that, and it will keep that
Keep the
population
babies
back and
down,
forth. I
right.
mean, it definitely will.
Yeah. Well,
Will the current koi pond build get tied into the back pond waterfall upgrade in the future? Absolutely not.
no,
Yeah.
because our back pond is Native American fish. We've got largemouth bass, bluegill, crappie, catfish.
White
we
bass.
got some white bass. We got some grass carp in there. It's
Game fish.
naturalistic game fish pond. Basically, I take number 4 hooks and I cut off the barb, and anybody comes over here, brings their kids, they can go out back. As soon as they're hooked with a little bit of dough ball on it, touches the water, they got themselves a fish. And it's the greatest thing for kids. And it don't hurt the fish. You know, we unhook them and then release them. So that's what that pond's for.
Alrighty, let's
Okay, North Aquatic says, Ed, what have you not built or designed you want to see happen? Ooh.
Good one. Good one. So I've done some designs, and again, budgets have not come through for them.
Right.
But it was to kind of recreate cenote. So the underground cave systems of like in Mexico. So really cool. So I love the springs of Florida. Cavern diving and stuff like that. So really unique. Where you actually have a body of open water, but it's all limestone. It's karst topography and everything, and then it kind of goes into this underground cavern or something like that. So it would be really fun and cool to do something like that.
We can do that in our back pond. If we buy enough rock, we can make a whole cavern and swim from one side to the other. Ooh, I like that idea.
Can do it.
Wait, with enough of this.
Yeah. We were supposed, so at our office, we designed in and put in that big swim through tunnel.
Yeah.
So I wanted, the original design actually had an underwater cavern that we were going to pump.
Come up out of like a grotto and air in there?
We were going to pump air into it.
I
But
vaguely remember that.
the level, so if this was water level is here, the
air
cave was
would
going
bring
to
it
be
down.
underneath. And you would dive down, but we were going to have to pump fresh air into it and then kind of vent it off. So constantly, and then we'd be able to keep it in
You
air
wouldn't have to
pocket inside
vent
of
it
that.
off.
But
The
it would
more-
get stagnant.
No. The more air you pump in,
It would
constant
totally
air,
dry out.
It would come down, and somewhere it would
Somewhere
leak
go.
up. And
But I
go
wanted it half full of water. So I wanted the cave like half full, where you're kind of in and you got like an air gap
Right.
type of a thing. But yeah.
And then you want some couches up there made of stone and rye.
Well, we compromised. We did the underwater tunnel, but then we still did the grotto area with the big waterfall coming off it. It was starting to get expensive, and everybody started freaking out.
But nobody but Greg is able to go in that
It would have been
tunnel.
awesome. It would have been so awesome, though.
Why is that? Because only he can hold his breath that long to get under there.
Oh, geez, stop it.
Are you kidding me? To find a hole about this big, like
Is
what,
it?
5 feet underwater.
Oh, it's 10 feet.
It's only this big?
It's 10 feet.
I mean, there's rocks around
Yeah,
it,
it's probably
so
24 to 30 inches.
yeah, it's crazy.
Sure.
It's,
So I couldn't fit through anyways.
I've gone through it once with Greg's dad here, scuba diving.
Yeah? Did you learn
it's
something?
Pretty cool. It is pretty
Did
cool.
you go through it?
Well, yeah, but I was wearing scuba gear.
Yeah, I've gone through it.
I've gone scuba
it's
diving
not
in that
bad.
front
Well,
door.
if you can fit through scuba gear, my fat ass
You
can
can
fit
It's
through.
totally fit.
No
I'm just
problem.
saying it's a little. You'll try it next time you're there.
That's right.
Yep.
You heard him.
So we got Miss Leslie for $2. She said, "Just had to say #Team Tracy."
Thank you. I love that.
Yep.
I was actually in tears tonight talking about Tracy and the way the hospitals treat her and stuff. You know, I hate breaking down to tears. You know, but there's certain subjects that it just tugs at my heartstrings. You know, and Tracy loves everybody. Like his wife Ellen. You go to Ed's house, and his wife is the closest person I've ever met to Tracy. She treats everybody like your long-lost friends, you know. She'll hug you. She's just a sweetheart. That's the way Tracy was. And for these people to treat her, you know, and not take care of her, I was just devastated. I couldn't believe it, you know. Tracy deserves better than what the hospitals gave her.
Yep.
So we got Hepa Aquatics. Said, "Ed, what is the most difficult and most rewarding build you have ever did? Not including Shaq's rainy setup, beautiful design."
So let's see. So
Yeah.
it's hard for different reasons. So there's lots
Different
of
reasons,
different,
right.
Yeah, I mean there's so many different challenges. Everything from bad weather, tough conditions. You know, doing projects.
That's a good question.
Doing projects in Africa.
The worst bad
just
weather
getting stuff there.
experience ever.
Worst bad weather. I worked actually in a tropical storm.
Oh, it wasn't OFR.
It was no. God,
Oh, okay,
no.
okay.
We had 75-mile-an-hour winds, driving
Really?
rain, but we had a really strict.
That's hurricane weather.
And I was the only one on the ground, and I was with the machine operator. He was in the machine the whole time, and he's just shaking his head. I'm like, dude, I'm out here.
I'm out here.
Slopping around in the mud, and like literally, I'm leaning forward in the wind and the rain, strapping rocks up, and it had to get done. It's like there's no plan B. It had to get done. It was just nasty.
Hate when there's no
weather.
plan B.
No, it's nasty. But we have all different types of challenges. Everything from project I did last year up in Canada. working on top of a roof, so we had load-bearing things that we had to constantly think of. So we were working with the engineers on site to make sure that we weren't going to overload the roof structure, which would collapse the whole stinking thing. Brutal. So like that's pretty stressful. Working down in South America, logistics, working in Africa, getting materials. Like today, we missed a couple fittings, and you were like, "Oh my gosh, going to my shed over here," and you got boxes and boxes of all types of fittings because you've been doing this stuff forever.
But if I didn't have that
in Africa, you're missing a fitting, and you're losing a guy for not just an hour. He's gone for a day. He's literally gone for a day for one fitting until he comes back until he can find that one piece.
Yeah,
so
that would be
logistics,
horrible.
super difficult. Pushing machines to the limit. Some projects we have really tight constraints for getting equipment in, so that limits us on what we could build. So yeah,
Ooh,
that's.
I got a good question.
I mean, I've been doing it for 27 years, so it's like, I mean, every year we have something that just pops up that's just brutal.
Now, apart from people being donators or sponsors, what is your favorite machine you've used?
Favorite machine for construction?
Well, upon building, maybe a bobcat, maybe crane, maybe.
You know, the mini excavators are by far the best. They're
but the name
super
brand.
versatile. Well, I'm a cat person, Caterpillar.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you been in what's that called, Taguchi?
I operate zero. So I do not operate any equipment.
Okay.
I'm just talking to you about from the productivity of the operators, because my job, if I'm in charge of a project, to be in charge and sitting inside of a machine is very ineffective.
Right.
So, because a machine,
But
in
how
order
many
to
times
make
that
it
machine
effective,
shows up
he
compared to
needs
another?
to keep operating. So whenever I'm ordering stuff, I just push to get Caterpillar equipment. If I can't get it, then I will go to a wide variety of different things.
Right. I always liked bobcats and thought they were the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
And then this new one we rented, what's it called?
Takeuchi.
Takeuchi, yeah.
Is that what's called? Takeuchi?
Yeah,
Takuchi,
like
whatever it is.
Yeah.
And the guy said this is the Cadillac of bobcats.
Nice.
And I did not realize that. The other bobcats I was using is all, I'm doing all this. This thing here, I'm actually drifting around a corner as I'm going down a hill.
Nice.
This thing is like just
Yeah,
a
that's cool.
cream of the crop.
That's cool.
Now I want one of those.
Nice. Well, in order to do that negative edge, you might as well just buy one, right? Take care of it all. What's my oldest pond that I built that's still running? Gosh, that's a good question. So it's been 27 years. I have stuff that I guarantee that's 27 years old in the Chicagoland area. I didn't travel a lot back then. So I know there's some projects close to our office right in St. Charles. They've passed hands. Homeowners are now gone, and they have new people in there. I don't know the new names, but 27 years old.
It's a pretty old pond.
Yeah, it is.
Ooh. Ed, speaking of overseas builds, I want to see you build Take shelter in Grease Pond for the pups to play in rehab in.
Hockey shelter. I don't know what that is. I'm in.
Alrighty. Well, it seems like the questions are starting to die out. You guys want to get in some questions before we sign off here for the night? We'll give you guys 10 more minutes. So we'll go to 8:15. Come on, guys. There we go. We're still waiting. My first winter with a pond heater or no? Waterfall on or off?
I prefer a waterfall to stay running, but one of the things that I want to mention, make sure, I don't know how your pond is set up. I only leave them running if I don't have a pump all the way in the bottom of the pond. So if you have a pump located on the bottom of the pond, you're going to be drawing that warm water. So the maximum density of water is 39 point whatever degrees, 39.6, something like that. So that's going to be the heaviest water is going to stay on the bottom. The colder water is going to float on top. So we don't want to pump that warmer water up to the surface where it can cool itself off, because if you do that, you're going to stress your fish. So the reason I say that is you want to make sure that your pumping system's either in a skimmer, an intake bay, a negative edge, or your pump is sitting on a shelf that's no more than a foot deep. below the surface area. If that is set up properly, then you could run it year round, and you're not going to have any problems. I like that more circulation personally. Keeping a hole open in the ice with a heater, very, very effective, but it's very one-dimensional. It's keeping a hole open, so you're just relying on the natural off-gassing process to occur. By actually pumping water and moving it, it's a little bit more active and I think a lot more efficient.
I've got something to add to that because I walked in and I'm like, ooh, because a lot of people believe in this and think this. Moving the warmer water from the bottom up to the top via air bubbles will keep your fish alive and do all this. Not only that, put a pump at the bottom and then you don't have to heat it.
Right.
And these people are just like mistaken because they're thinking something that sounds reasonable as a thought, but not deep thought.
Yep, exactly. So again, model it after nature. In nature, nature's perfect. If you look at the way things are set up, fish have evolved over all the eons to live in certain stratified zones. They're going to find the certain right temperature. So if you start taking all that, so nature does have 2 overturns a year in the northern climates. You're going to have a spring and a fall overturn where you're going to take all that warm water, it's going to come up to the surface, kind of moves all the nutrients and everything. But you take that out of the equation, it's usually very stagnant, and we have 2 stratified layers. And that happens for a reason. So if that didn't happen, if the coldest water was on the bottom of the pond, our lakes, rivers, streams, oceans would freeze from the bottom up, and life as we know it would not exist.
Right.
So that warmer water layer is very, very important. You don't want to mess it. You just leave it alone during the winter time. Let that warm water stay there for the fish to kind of get away from that cold. If you are going to set up a bubbler or a heater, again, keep it in that top 12, 16-inch range, and you won't have any problems.
And now, not to mention, you're having... You think bringing the warmer water up is going to help.
Super cool.
But now our fish are designed to go into hibernation.
Yep.
And now if you're bringing this warmer temperature up, they're still wanting some food.
Yeah.
And then you're not feeding them and they're getting skinnier and skinnier, and by summer they're dead.
Yeah.
Because you brought all the warm water from the bottom to the top, and they don't know whether, should I go into hibernation? I'm halfway in between. They just slowed down. Yeah. And you're not feeding them at all because you said, oh, well, Big Rich at a hot fish rescue said don't feed them from fall to summer.
Yeah.
So you're actually causing the problem that way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's, a lot of hearsay comes into play in this situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have Ray Leslie for $5. She said, how long do rubber liners last?
So EPDM rubber has a warranty of 20 years from degradation. So what's going to break down the rubber liner is going to be UV radiation. So when we build a pond, so these are designed, so the EPDM compound was originally designed for landfills. It's used for commercial roofing and things like that. So they want to make sure that they have a leak-free installation. So 20 years, that's if it's fully exposed, open to the elements. Now once
in direct
sunlight. So as soon as you put it underwater, you keep it cooler. We cover everything with rock and gravel, so we're keeping the UV radiation out of the equation. Again, I have ponds that are 27 years old. I have gone back in, not ripped them out because they failed, but I've taken them apart because the customer wants to expand. The rubber liner is
once you get a pond, you want a bigger.
You want to go bigger. Yeah. So the rubber liner, even 25, 27 years old, is still flexible. It's pliable. There's no signs of degradation. Now, there are other types of, there's polyolefins and things like that I have seen delaminate. I've literally seen them crumble apart where they're exposed to sunlight. But those are used in, again, different applications. So I think, you're going to get 50 years out of it, which is, that's a long time. You're not going to find anything that lasts that long, actually, even anymore.
Sean Baker says, Ed, I'd like to know what you plan on building on your property.
Oh, gosh. My next
endeavor.
Probably, I have to do something really specific for my wife. So she loves, again, you were just talking about her, she loves her animals, her horses, her goats, her donkey. So I have to do something for the animals. So I'm going to probably do like a rainwater capture system where I can take water off of the roof of one of the barns, put it into an underground storage system, bubble it up to the surface so they have fresh drinking water. So I think that'll probably be the next feature.
Ed, I love your wife. She's such a sweetheart.
She's the best. I
She
couldn't do what I do without her.
Right.
By far.
She needs a
without
universal rock background, some rocks in there. The goats, the little baby goats that jump up on this. Oh, it's so cute,
She's
Ed.
awesome. Shout out, Ellen.
Love you, Ellen. You were you were the
best.
closest to my Tracy I have ever met that has welcomed strangers into your home like they were family. And that's Tracy. Everybody loves Tracy because of that. And you were, I haven't met many people like that. You were one of them, Ellen. Love you for that. Your wife is awesome.
She's the best. She's great.
No. I must say, Tracy was the best.
Justin Mitchell's asked, what tech is going in the koi pond? Lighting and jets, etc.
We have actually a lot, lined up.
Yeah.
We have 12 color changing lights going in there, and they're on back order right now. But they will change colors. The whole pond can go red to blue to green, or you can keep it on white, or you can have it daylight, nighttime, that type of stuff. And then we also got 2 pond pumps. What are they called?
Pond power heads.
Power heads.
Yes.
They're about this big around. They move 4,000
Yeah,
gallons
it's
an
a
hour.
crazy amount of water.
And they just push. So in all of our dead spots in the pond, there's 2 of them because it's rectangle. We got the overflow. Skimmers.
Skimmer on one side.
The skimmers over here, and then the waterfall over here. So the waterfall, the water will go point of least resistance right through to the skimmers. So we've got in these 2 corners the power heads pushing out to the middle. So any leaves, anything, it goes to the middle, and then the skimmers can take it. Any other technology?
The Ionogen system out there.
Oh, there's an ion gen system.
I mean, when you start getting with the bigger ponds, like what you have, they become a lot more stable and easier to take care of. So we're working.
People don't
Again,
realize
we're working with nature. Smaller ones are a lot trickier.
I tell people all the time, you
Yeah.
have a 10 gallon, you have a 25, you have a 55, and then, you want to move up to a 90 or something. I'll tell you what, I've had this 125 gallon running for like 10 years, full of plants. I haven't done a water change but once every year, because so many plants, it's so much easier because here's the difference. On a small tank, if something goes wrong, it goes wrong fast.
Yep.
And then you wake up and your fish are dead. On a big tank, you've got more time. Something starts showing up, you can see it, you can take readings, you can check it out. And it's actually easier for a big tank to take care of your fish than it is a small tank. Yeah. So I tell people all the time, upgrade. It's just easier.
I agree, 100%. So I think the big bells and whistles are the sheer scale of it. I mean, just the sheer size of your pond, you don't need a lot.
Well, we're trying also to add in all the rock to make it look natural in a square form.
Yep.
We're doing that.
Yeah.
And then, how we built the ledge and then we foamed that in and we got gravel up there. We're going to do the same on the top too and bring the dirt up to it and eliminate the rubber. People are like, oh, all this time and effort, and you end up with a rectangle.
Yeah.
That was our point, though. We need the
exactly
most
what you're looking
gallonage and give us time. It will look more natural.
Oh, once you were talking about doing water lilies on that ledge and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to help shade
there's
everything, keep it cooler.
That and protect the fish from the herons. And then, we have the ledge more than 24 inches down. Right. It's 30 inches, 28 inches, something like that. And that way the herons can't step in the water. Yeah. So now they're stuck at the edge, and then there's all these water lilies all the way around giving our fish. And if the herons try and go in there, they'll just go out and go undercover. So I'm thinking it's the best natural defense we could build.
I agree. I think it's
great. Oh my God!
I
Thank
agree.
you.
We got Kathy Murphy for $4. She said, "Pinch me. Is it Fishy Friday already?"
See,
I wish it was Friday.
Everyone knows you're the pond professor and knows you're smart, but here they're getting an idea that, hey, Big Rich is there. He's articulating. He's involved.
Exactly.
Allison Berry said, "Have you ever started a project and have to scrap it because of unforeseen forces?"
Ooh, good
question.
question.
Is this for me or for you?
For you, buddy.
Oh,
Not
no,
me.
I haven't.
You've never had the city come in and say you can't do this, or the storms or the mudslides or anything.
We've been able to come back.
I was saying, wasn't there the one with the roofing guys that halted it because?
Yes.
That's kind of like a halt.
It was a halt, but we got back.
But you still got to finish it.
You got to finish it. You overcame.
It was a union thing. So we were doing a big pond. We had.
Was it New York?
No, Chicago.
Yeah.
Chicago's
got
way
a big
bigger.
union thing okay.
Yeah. And we were installing rubber liner, and the roofing contractor saw us installing it, and he said, "That's roofing liner," and I'm like, "No, it's a pond liner." And so they halted all work. We had to pull ourselves off.
EDPM.
Yeah.
They're just made differently.
Basically, yeah. And so they came. So we had to give our portion of the contract to them, so they could actually install the rubber liner part, and then we did the stonework. But then they had to hire me back as a consultant because the roofing guy said, actually the guy.
I don't know how to seam this.
No, he's like, I don't build ponds. He's like, I know, and I don't do roofs. I wouldn't be up seaming a roof. He's like, I'm like, there's different things.
That's a bureaucratic bull right there.
I know. But they ended up doing a second one like 2 or 3 years later, and we kept them out of it, so it worked out for us in the long run.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a pain though. Yeah, that's a good memory. Gosh, that was like 20 years ago.
Really, Flavio?
Yeah, that was
20 years ago.
I haven't been with the company 20 years, but I've heard the story.
Yeah,
so I was like, wait.
Okay.
Have you ever come north to Canada? Absolutely. I love going up to Canada. I've done some incredible projects up there. British Columbia, Calgary, Toronto. I've been all the way out in the Maritimes, out in, Nova Scotia, not Nova Scotia, forget the name of the town. Whatever it is. I'm drawing a blank. But I have done some cool stuff up in Canada. I love it. I'm a fan.
It comes with old age, brother.
Alright. This next one's from Digger Jones. So can you address the leaves on the OFR pond?
Yeah, absolutely. So
we actually talked about this earlier
we
today.
did. Yeah, well, so leaves, as soon as you start building a water feature outdoors, you are going to get everything blown into it. You're going to get leaves. You're going to get lawn clippings. You're going to get pollen. You're going to get dust. You're going to get whatever.
Oh no!
It becomes a magnet.
No, the trees know we're OFR. They leave us alone.
They're going to leave you alone. Exactly. So that's why we put skimmers in place. So we have mechanical skimmer filters. The pumps go inside of there. It draws the surface water in. It's going to draw all that surface debris. Everything floating,
debris,
which is allochthonous material. So allochthonous means anything that comes in from outside the pond. Autochthonous means it's generated from within the pond. So that will be algae, fish waste, and
oh my god!
Flock.
You just taught me 2 new big words.
Nice.
Write them down.
Write them down quick before you forget them.
That's the whole purpose of a skimmer, to remove that stuff, because leaves are going to fall in there. Any organic compounds are going to fall inside the pond. They become saturated, they decompose, they break down, they release nutrients into the water, causes water quality issues. So by having a skimmer filter, in the fall you might be busy. You're going to be probably out there scooping
cleaning it once a week,
cleaning out that basket, on a regular basis.
Wait.
But that's part of
Both it. Baskets. That's
Both
2.
baskets.
That's dose.
Oh, now we got 2. Well, 3 with the front one.
So we got the ARG Blue for $4. She said pond size for a regular slider to live in.
Well, it depends on how big the slider is. Also depends on your maintenance. Is it going to be an indoor or outdoor pond? They don't require a lot of water. They're going to be basking. They want access. They don't need a deep pond. I would recommend though putting in some plant pockets. Maybe doing like a submerged water lily, so they might be able to burrow themselves down if you want to let them overwinter throughout the entire season. Some people prefer to bring them indoors during the winter months, so there are a few more questions, I guess, that I'd probably have before I actually say a size of a pond. But I would say safely, 100 gallons minimum, you'd probably be fine.
Which brings up I just had a thought. The front pond, Greg Woodstock gave us that big tropical plant. It has to come in for the winter. It will die out there in the cold. Ed told me today.
Yes, it will definitely die.
We were going to leave it out there.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Actually, it's Flavio that caught that one.
Was it you, Flavio? Thank you, sir.
Whenever I can.
So we need to bring that in and put it in our pond, but we can't have it in there with Godzilla because he will just nip off all the leaves again, and that giant gourami will just eat it. So we need to put it in
Stick it in the koi tank. The shack koi.
We could do it in the shack koi tank. Perfect. I was thinking the indoor pool pond. But the shack koi tank is perfect.
There ain't no natural light in there for it to grow.
Yeah, you might need. So what we've done is we'll get some grow lights and put them over it. So just
Yeah.
but it'll go dormant. So it'll probably still come back. The main thing is water
Slow
temperature.
growth
So
and
your
all that.
water temperatures in there are going to be 80+ degrees, right?
Well, we keep the water at 83, so in there it's probably down to about 78 in the wintertime
Okay.
because it gets colder around there. And then the air going through goes outside. The
Yeah.
moist air is about 70. So usually we plastic in the back deck,
Yeah.
and then it's 20 outside and it's 70 inside. So it reaches about 50 inside there.
Okay. Yeah.
Because 70-degree water and 20.
Gotcha.
So I mean, but you know, this year we can't plastic it off because we built a wood roof.
Oh yeah, you destroy that.
We'll mold the tar out of it.
Yeah, you destroy
You know,
that.
so yeah.
Alrighty, so we promised you guys 10 more minutes. Well, you got 20.
Wow.
So we're going to go ahead and give these guys a break.
Hey, they've been working all day, guys. Are awesome all day.
That's it, Al.
We hope you guys enjoyed the super special live stream with Ed the Pond Professor and Flavio.
Head on over to.
The only reason Aquascape is you know above ground.
Oh, thank you. Not really, but thank you. This right here is what I'm talking about.
So
You know,
we're,
Ed is the main reason, really.
we're going to go ahead and sign off for the night. As always,
Stay fishy, my friends.
Get some merch.